everyone, hi. You're welcome to Storytime by Vivian. And on today's episode, I have this interesting story here with me, and it's titled The Old Man's Lesson. I'll just go ahead and read it out now, okay? A rich man asked a wise old scholar to help his son get rid of a bad habit. The scholar took the boy for a walk in the garden and suddenly told the boy to pull out a small plant. The boy easily pulled it out with his fingers. Then the scholar asked him to pull out a slightly bigger plant. The boy pulled harder and it also came out with its roots. Next, the scholar pointed to a bush and told the boy to pull it out. The boy struggled and used all his strength, but at last he managed to pull it out. Next, the scholar pointed to a bush and told the boy to pull it out. The boy struggled and used all his strength, but at last he managed to pull it out. Finally, the scholar showed him a guava tree and asked him to pull it out. The boy tried hard, but no matter how much he pulled, the tree did not move. Tired and out of breath, the boy said, "It is impossible." Okay, did you find that story interesting? Okay, personally, I found it very interesting because I think there's a lot to learn from this. Okay, I'll just go ahead to the morals. Okay, and morals number one says bad habits are easier to remove when they are small. Okay, relating that to our everyday lives, we are going to pick examples from the story, right? We could see that when it was just the grass, the boy pulled it out with little or no strength at all. But when he got to the guava tree, was he able to pull it out? He was unable to pull it out. That's exactly how we're relating this one to our everyday lives, because once something is just starting, it's easier to stop. But once it goes on and on, then it becomes something, you become addicted to it. That is exactly how I'm relating that to our everyday lives. And secondly, say wisdom comes from experience and should be valued. Okay, wisdom comes from experience and should be valued in the sense that relating that to our everyday lives, if you've experienced something, you've already learned from it. When you've experienced something, you've learned from it. You've learned from it, right? So that thing you have learned from it is now yours. Like, it's your wisdom. It is yours, and you should be it should be valued, right? It should be valued because if you face something like that again, you already know what to do because you've experienced it before. So that is how I can relate this one to our everyday lives and say patience and careful thinking lead to better decisions. Okay, relating that to our everyday lives is that in every decision we want to take, we have to be patient. We have to be patient and think properly before taking decisions, so we don't take decisions that we'll end up regretting. So that is how I can relate this to our everyday lives. Okay, say simple life lessons can teach important value for success and happiness. Okay, simple life lessons can teach us important value for success and happiness in the sense that our everyday lives, we learn every day. You can learn something from sitting here and looking at something you're learning. You can learn from feeding your child. Probably you're feeding the child and the child chokes on food. You've learned something. You know the reason why that child choked. Maybe the food was too much or something. So you have learned something from that. It can be maybe probably going out and probably you probably took bought something you don't need. You have learned something from that. Next time you know that, okay, when you want to go out, you make a list instead of just going blindly, because you've got things that you don't need. You know, all of those little things. This is how I can relate this to our everyday life. Simple life lessons can simple life lessons can teach important values for success and happiness. So I hope you were able to pick one or two things from my story today. And just like I said, these stories are based on my personal opinion. I hope you enjoyed today's story. Leave a comment, like, and share. Thank you. Bye.